Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Buff Naggle the podcast, where we explore entertaining and enlightening discussions of the adventure of life and all things good. From science and technology to history and philosophy to leadership and success. We hope to give you a better understanding of the world and skills for everyone to pursue their own adventure.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Buff Naggle the podcast, where we talk about all things good and the pursuit of the adventure of life. I'm Rafe, and I'm going solo this week. The other friends of mine, my co-conspirators, are out doing other things. So you got me, but it's going to be a great show because you know what? You're here, I'm here, and we have good things to talk about because this is a show about the good. So first of all, thank you to all the listeners out there, as we say every week, and we can never say enough. We appreciate you being there for us, and we're always here for you, and you can reach us if you need to at buffnaggle.com, and we are on wherever. We're on Apple Podcast and Spotify and Stitcher and all sorts of other wonderful places like that. So, hey, if you want to do us, you're sitting there thinking, how can I do the buff a favor? Well, here's what you do. You share the love, share the buff, and tell your friends, hey, listen up. Remember, if you get a friend to listen, you will get a free episode. And those little 5-star reviews and hitting the subscribe button are really good things for us. So we would appreciate that greatly if you would do that sort of thing. So, well, today's episode, these things always start off with a story, and then in the end we end up with this note card that I make of things to talk about. So this week's episode starts with a what do they call it? A waist up skin check. Okay, so if you when you get older, some of you know this, and some of you who are going to get older will eventually come to know this. When you get older, they will your skin tends to get little spots on it, and it's what do they call them? Age spots sometimes on your hands and things. But otherwise, like on the top of your head, you can get things, and then your shoulders and on your arms typically, but sometimes on your back. Every now and then you got to go to the dermatologist, and they will give you a waist up skin check. So I suppose they could do a full body skin check, but very few things show up below the waist there unless they're on your ankles and stuff, and you run around in shorts a lot. So these days I'm not going outside as much as I did when I was a kid, but occasionally I would get sunburns and those kinds of bad things that you do when you're young and indestructible before you become older and destructible. So anyway, I went to get the skin check, and the lady was wonderfully nice. I told her I got these spots. I got this spot here and this spot here, and she found some other spots and looked at them. And it's wonderful that we get to do this. Okay, so this is where this is going. After I came out of this experience, it was this feeling of gratitude was just monumental. I cannot express. It's amazing to me because I spend the whole podcast expressing, but I cannot express the full measure of the gratitude for where we are now in how we deal with these sorts of things. So I make an appointment at the dermatologist. A couple of weeks later, I go in. I find the building. That took a while, actually. That was a little heartbreaking, trying to find my way through the medical campus to find the building. But I got there, and they were ready for me. And right on time, they called my name, and I went back there. And this wonderful dermatology lady said, well, let's take a look at your head. She found some little spots here and there. And they have two tools, at least for these kinds of checks. They have my favorite tool is this. It's the freezing gas is what it is. And I guess that's what I'll call it. It's high pressure, highly volatile liquid in a spray can. And what they do is they freeze your skin by spraying this stuff onto your skin. So, and I'm sure it has an official name, and it's probably cryo something because it's medical. And in medical, you take words that you know what they mean and you turn them into language you don't know, and then you call them that, and they sound very exciting. So she did cryo treatment of my skin blemishes or whatever it is. And she sprayed this cold stuff on it. And what it does is it freezes the skin. So if you have bad cancery cells, they're sitting in the upper couple layers of your dermis. I think I probably got that right. Then this freezy stuff will kill those bad cells, and they will not go on to make more bad cells. And boom, any cancer or precancer cleared up, frozen away. It's interesting to me because skin cancer can come from sunburn. She asked if I had had any blistering sunburns, and I said probably had some when I was a kid, but I don't remember any recently. So sunburn is bad according to the dermatology, but apparently freezer burn is good, I guess. So anyway, the freezer burn gets rid of the cells that are bad, the cancerous or precancerous cells, and that's wonderful on a couple levels. Certainly because of that technology is awesome. You take something and you put it in a spray can and you spray it on there, and it makes cancer go away. I mean, what a remarkable thing! But think of what we have to do to get there. Okay, you got to be able to compress a gas really, really. What do you compress it hard? You really compress it, okay? And you cram it into this little can, and when it comes out, it expands and absorbs heat because it does that, and anything in the vicinity gets really cold because all its heat gets sucked away. So just over the last, these ideas are like 200, 300 years old. These ideas of how to get science to do these wonderful things for us. So you have to understand like states of matter, like solid, liquid, and gas. You have to understand how to compress things. You have to be able to build the technology to put it in the can and then get it to the doctor. She wasn't doing this in the back lab, right? Before I got there, she wasn't compressing the gas with like a tire pump. She was, she buys this can and comes in this special contraption with this very important triggering mechanism. And when I left, I saw like down the hallway, there were, a bunch of rooms with different people in them. And like every one of these rooms had a little shelf on it and a little can waiting to spray people's heads and shoulders and stuff like that to get rid of the bad cells and get rid of those things. So it's been a couple of days now, and these marks, she told me, well, those are going to get, we've killed off some cells there. So they're going to get a little ugly for a while. And I was like, well, that'll fit right in. So that shouldn't be an issue. So, we got through it. I'm in the ugly stage now, so nobody can really tell that is any different than normal. But it's peeling a little bit, and I'm peeling off a couple layers of dead bad cells, and we're throwing those away. And that was one of the things that happened to the dermatologist. And the second thing that happened is she has this magic tool, which is a knife that automatically, I think the term is cauterized, but she used this other word that I didn't really know about. But right on my chest on the left side was this little dot. And she was like, we better take that guy out of there. So she reached over and grabbed this syringe that had some stuff in it. And it was some sort of nerve blocking agent. And she sticks that in me and squeezes it in there. And it hurt a little tiny bit. Like, I don't know, like if you bang your toe against the table or something like that, or you scratch yourself in the, that thing where you tear the aluminum foil and your thumb accidentally hits that. And it's kind of sharp, and you're like, that kind of hurt. Okay, that's about how much it hurt to get that injection with the pain killing stuff. And then my skin was numb, and I didn't really watch. I should have watched this, but I couldn't really see it because it was kind of close to me, and I didn't have my glasses on. It's kind of hard to see that distance, so I probably should have watched. But I didn't watch, and we were talking, and she cut it out and took this little piece of skin, maybe somewhere between 6 and 9 centimeters square, millimeters square, and that's a metric system thing there. We did that last week. And she took that and put it in a little jar of formaldehyde or something. She'll send that to the lab, and they'll find out if it's cancery stuff. And then she put some stuff on there, and this knife is hot. So what it does is I guess it's hot, and it when it cuts through the skin, it immediately cauterizes the blood vessels, so there's no bleeding, and it just snipped it right off of there. And she was done in 45 seconds. And she put a little Band-Aid right on there, and then I was instructed to change the Band-Aid every day. After wait a day, and then make sure it's good and clean, and put some stuff on it. And now it's nothing. I have no tenderness. I have no pain. I have no nothing. What a wonderful thing. And I think about what knowledge has to go into that machine, all right? You got to have the electricity to make the magic knife. You got to have it really sharp. You got to understand how hot stuff will stop the bleeding. You got to understand the idea of the antibiotic ointment or whatever that goes on there to stop any bleed or any infection in the future, how to keep it clean. And I am now like less than a week out from this, and it's like it's nothing. It was nothing, right? And because we have all of this good stuff in our culture and our technology that allow us to do these things, medicine, these wonderful little things about medicine that we just, I have to say, we take these for granted. Think of what had to happen for me to get there. I have to have gas in my car. I have to have a car. All right, I have to make an appointment. I have an internet and I have a phone. Right. And there has to be a dermatologist nearby, and I have to be able to get there. So I use the little magic map on my phone to direct me through the traffic. And I found the building. And then when I got lost, I just used the phone and I called the building. She said, well, look for the whatever sign. And so I did. And I got in there, and it was, and then all the equipment. And so there's this level of, I guess there's this level of understanding and knowledge now that I'm floored by. We take these things so much for granted, and it's stunning to me how much we know that they didn't know in the past, and that makes things wonderful. Our science and technology, but not just that, but just like the art we have now, like watching video games are incredible pieces of art, and the literature and the movies, entertainment and sports we get to watch. I mean, back in the day, the Greeks had the Olympic Games, which are great things, but pretty much people just ran and they wrestled, or swam maybe. Our coaches in high school, one of the wrestling coaches, he referred to two different kinds of sports. He referred to natural sports, and then I don't know what the opposite of a natural sport was. It wasn't an unnatural sport, but I guess it was a sport that requires equipment. All right. And he said when man first appeared on earth, he ran, he swam, and he wrestled. Those are the three things. Like if you can do those sports without any equipment, and any other thing requires some equipment. If you're going to throw the javelin or the shot put, you need a javelin or a shot put. You need a baseball bat to play baseball. You need a soccer goal. You need a football. You need a basketball goal. You need horses to play. To play polo or to do horse race. I mean, so there are natural sports and there are unnatural sports. And what we have now, as far as the complexity of our games, I think it's incredible to watch, and it's incredibly fun. It doesn't mean the other ones are bad. It's just that there's all this variety in these things to look at. And then our general level of health now is off the charts, and our wealth is mind boggling to what we have achieved and what we have built. Like, what people did in the past, just like we're renting this house now because we're building the new one, and we walked in and I turned the knob on the faucet and the water comes out. But the infrastructure that got put in place over the last 150 years to make it so that our city has stuff in place. It has a water tower and it's got pipes underneath the roads, and they're sealed, they don't leak, and they put clean water in them. And I turn the knob here at the faucet and the water comes out. And then if I don't, and then it goes on into the drain and goes away into the water treatment plant, which takes any bad stuff out of it. And it gets recycled and used again. It's like, wow. I don't have to go down to the river and kick the moose carcass out of the way or whatever it is to get a cup of water. So if we have these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. And so what I want to what we do is we record these shows first, all right, and then when we're done, we figure out what the title is going to be. But we know the general approach of this week is gratitude, and I'm hoping that the title will say something about gratitude, and you'll be able to tell because you will listen to this in the past, even though the title will be made for me in the future. But there will be something about gratitude and the attitude of gratitude, to overuse a cliche, that it is, we should all have this attitude of gratitude. We live in this remarkable, miraculous world. And this This requires, I think, from us, this requires gratitude to live in this world. And I think there's a couple things about gratitude that are very, very good things. That are good things about it. There are things about gratitude that are good about it. Right. Okay, so there are things about gratitude that are good in themselves. Just principle of being grateful is a good thing. So, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Okay, I made kind of a list. First off, gratitude is humble, right? It requires humility to be grateful. And the reason it requires humility is it requires the acceptance and the understanding that I can't do this alone. I'm not on my own here. This was not done by me. There were others. What do they say? Standing on the shoulders of giants, or people just helped you. Somebody pointed you the right way. Just to get my skin thing done. I'm grateful to the dermatology lady, whoever taught her in medical school. I'm grateful to the lady who answered the phone at the front desk when I called and I couldn't find the building. So all of these things are things I couldn't do alone. It's really hard to get to where we are right now alone. So don't think that you're doing it on your own, because you're not. You're in a world, in a society, in a culture that is the downstream effect of a lot of people doing a lot of work for a long time to get us where we are. All right. So the first thing, gratitude is humble. The second thing is gratitude is honest. All right. Because you recognize you cannot do it alone, and because you take on that attitude of gratitude. I wish it didn't rhyme. That sounds so cliche. When you take that attitude of gratitude, that's an honest thing to do. And what that does then is that promotes your integrity, right? People who are grateful have high integrity because they are being honest and they are recognizing what the truth is, right? And their role in the whole situation. Right? That's the second thing. The third thing, gratitude is attractive. It is a position to take that is appealing to others. Certainly in contrast to its opposite, which is, what's the opposite of, is ungratefulness, right? It is, gratitude looks good on you. It is attractive to everybody else out there. People want to be around people who are grateful. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's not grateful. Those people are not, they're not fun. They're not well-mannered. They're not inspiring. They're not joyous. Not being grateful makes you a person that is not, well, it's just kind of ugly. All right. So gratitude is attractive. Okay. And the last one then is that gratitude inspires. It encourages others to do what you are doing. And that is one of these, Zach talks about setting up ripples and making sure that you, that your actions encourage others to do the same. And gratitude is one of those things. It inspires people to recognize what you see, and then they will do a similar thing and pay it on and keep that ripple moving. That's where it starts for me with the skin check. And I can do a number of other things. We can talk about other medical preemptive measures. Things like the colonoscopy, and I think I've mentioned on this in the past. Those of you who haven't had the colonoscopy done, just do it. It's certainly not a comfortable thing. And that talk about humility, there's a place where you got to have some humility. But if you want to be honest and keep your integrity, then you go get that done. Because having that done, think about how you want that job. I don't want that job. So, but there's somebody I'm grateful to because they, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever I had my last one done, and I'm due for one coming up here very soon. So we'll probably talk about that when that happens. But, they found one of these pre-polyps in there and they snip it out and there we go down the road all hippity-hoppity happy. There's some gratitude right there, because otherwise right now I'd be 4 or 5 years post that without anybody knowing. And I'd be sitting in the same position that my dearly passed grandmother did. And that's what got her. So they didn't have that back in 1970, but I got it now. So we're going to use it and we are going to be grateful for it. So I'm thinking about how did we get to this situation where we have things so unbelievably wonderful in our culture, in our world, and I'm not sure we can really appreciate the full magnitude of the wonders that are in our culture, right? Life of old was nowhere near as nice as our life now. Now, it doesn't mean there weren't some times in the past that were pretty good. Socrates lived into his 60s before he drank what? Before he drank the hemlock, right? And people have had long lives. There have been people who have had long lives long before we came around. But for a society as a whole to be living as well as we are now, you look at how disease was rampant in the past, and how death and war were there. And then this abject poverty of people just scraping by day to day with trying to live, trying to live. All right. Where we have now, by every measure of advanced civilization, we have a level of human flourishing that is beyond comprehension. And everything has been getting better. It's better than it was 100 years ago. It's better than it was 50 years ago. When you measure the number of people who are literate, when you measure the number of people who, the number of women that die in childbirth, if you measure the number of kids that die before adulthood, all of those things are going in the right direction. And even in really bad areas of the world, it's infinitely better than it was. Right, the proportion of people that are living on less than $1 a day, or whatever that metric is, that is just plummeting down there, and that is I think that's a consequence of this culture we have, this robust, energetic, science-based culture, right? But the science-based culture sits on a fundament of the Judeo-Christian civilization, the backdrop there, right? And in that lies, like we've always said, it lies the Imago Dei principle that everybody is of value. Also in there is the universe is understandable. Therefore, pursuit of knowledge is pursuit of God, and therefore that's a good thing. So everything we're learning, right, the science that we're learning is revealing to us the wonders of nature, right? And the Gospels tell us that if you have faith strong enough, you will move mountains. All right. And I don't think that means if you have faith strong enough, you will just be able to sit here and think and wish, and that mountain will slide across the room. I think what it means is your faith drives you to seek God. And when you seek God, you get knowledge. And when you get knowledge, you get the ability to advance technologically. I firmly think that the concept of understanding how to treat skin cancer before it gets there, that's a consequence of faith. That's a consequence of understanding that the world is ordered and structured, and we can use that to produce human flourishing. Now, have we moved mountains? Heck yeah, we've moved mountains. Go look at we talked about this on the Interstate Highway episode, how we have literally moved mountains to give us, concrete ribbons of transportation. We've built artificial harbors. We've done all sorts of wonderful things through the technology that was developed through the pursuit of the understanding of the handiwork of God. So I think we live in this world, and we're swimming in this now, and it's so difficult for us to perceive what the world was like without that. All right. So all of that is good, and all of this technology is wonderful, but I want to caution that we don't become just fixated on scientism. All right. We need to seek balance in everything that we're doing. All right. And part of that is what do you do? I look at this here. I'm recording this podcast on this magic computer and it's going to go to this internet and do all these other things. But you know what? When I'm done recording this here, I will go outside and I will talk with my neighbors, and I will go walk in the park, and I will appreciate those things in a raw human form that is fundamental to who we are as people. So there's nothing wrong. I mean, actually, there's nothing wrong necessarily with the technology. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. Right? Let's use it for the good. But remember, we have to keep in tune with who we are. All right. We have to seek that balance, whether we're making things. I love to make things with my hands, working in the wood shop, whether you're cooking on your own, whether you sew your own clothes, right? But it's important to connect with things that are real. If we're just using the wonders of technology and the internet so that we can sit on our behinds and hit a button and have Uber Eats bring us a Wendy's burger, then I think we're not doing that right. All right. So get out there, do some good, all right? Seek some good, be some good, all right? And make sure you stay attuned to your nature, all right? And what that will do is that will bring you what we call joy. And I think joy comes from being true to who you are. Being true to who you are. And we've talked about this in the past. How to, who are you, right? What is your nature and what are you to do? And we all have the same answer to that question at the high level. And at the lower level, we have different answers. Some people are called to build things. Some people are chefs. Some people write computer code. I mean, there's all sorts of people that are doing different things. But I think at the high level, we are all the same because, as I talked about either last week or I think on the Job episode about the foundations of the world, is we, if you want to understand who we are, you have to go all the way back, right? Go all the way back to when we lived in the paradise, right? In the walled garden. And who were we in the walled garden? We were, Adam was called to be caretaker. He wasn't called to just live in the wilderness and just, eat berries. He was called to cultivate the garden and take care of it and make sure that he was fruitful and multiplied and that the earth was properly cared for and tended. Okay. So in that sense, we are caretakers and we are co-creators. So we are called to make new stuff from the stuff that is from the earth. And we are called to maintain what is there and to appreciate these things. And this would be what the Greeks would call your telos, your aim, the thing that you are striving toward, your end. What is your purpose? What is your telos? And I think you get joy out of fulfilling your telos. All right. So find what you are called to do. Find out how you are to be caretaker. Find out how you are to be co-creator, and go do that. And sometimes that's very easy. Sometimes it comes very naturally, and sometimes it's more difficult. You may not think that you make anything, but maybe you need to go learn to do that. These are, the world is out there. All the information's on this wonderful computer screen we have, and we ought to use it for more than just sending cat videos to each other. So, all right, that's what I got today. All right, that's the idea of gratitude and seeking your role in the great creation. All right, in summary, number 0, things are really good. We live in an age of unsurpassed human flourishing with all there's a lot of negative too, right? But we live in this unbelievable level of human flourishing. And that should encourage us all to keep pushing for more wonderful things. That's number 0. Number 1, don't lose your focus. Okay, don't lose your focus and think that this world is the only thing. All right, things are very good in this fallen world of ours, but as the Knights of Columbus say, "Tempus fugit memento mori," which is time flies and remember death. In the end, you were built for the paradise. So make sure that you're living a life to direct you there. That is your fundamental telos. Is that paradise? So make sure you stay aligned with that. You were made for something better than here. As grand as this is, you were made for something better. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is fulfill your role with gratitude. You were given a set of talents that is unique, that is special and different from all the world. And you are called to fulfill your reflection of Imago Dei and caretake the world and co-create it and fill your role with gratitude. Remember, gratitude is humble, it is honest, it is attractive, and it inspires. And those are all good things. Because here at the Buff, we always encourage you to seek the good, be the good, and spread the good, and enjoy the adventure of life.